Hey guys, what's going on? This is Brad from the Ad Army, and today this is a 5-minute theory on Gaiomon being the original Greymon. Now, before I get into it, as always, like, comment, subscribe. It's a 5-minute theory, so we have to get through it in 5 minutes or less, or at least 5 minutes is the minimum. But I just wanted to let you guys know that, and let's get started. So, why do I think Gaiomon is actually the original Greymon? Now, there's a few things to go into this. My main reasoning is something that's actually a little bit different than most. I know that technically Gaiomon isn't actually the original Greymon based solely on the fact that, design-wise, it wasn't meant to be. It was actually meant to be like a different variant to Black War Greymon, which is why, you have Gaiomon actually digivolving, or like slight digivolving on top of Black War Greymon. But my point is this. I would love a theory where the original Greymon was Gaiomon for two reasons. One, it would at least explain a lineage denotion that I like, is that it would be the one that had the original data for what would become Greymon, because Gaiomon actually is treated as a Greymon, but not Greymon in name. Now, this could be the opposite, where someone could say it's a derivative, maybe it's a new form of like an evolution of Greymon, like a Digimon took the data and transformed. My reasoning for it to be the original Greymon, or at least in terms of the inspiration, would actually be in its design and one of its main important factors being the X-Antibody. First, in its design, it's really strange. If we look at the original or the Japanese name for Gaiomon, it's actually Samudramon. So basically, obviously, Samurai Dramon is kind of like where they were going with it. But the reason why it's so important is that if you look at Gaiomon design-wise, it does look a bit different in terms of the chronological aspect. It wields dual blades. It doesn't really possess weapons in the same sense that we would see with like the Draymon Destroyers, or even with, some of the other Greymons, which are very more, I would say more westernized, I guess, kind of, with like a sword or even, cannons and lasers, like futuristic, whereas it's very heavily inspired by its Eastern, inspiration, obviously, like the original variant. And the reason I would have this is that we do know that one of the unexplored parts of the digital world is the chronological part of the digital world. And what I mean by this is there's different Digimon that reference in either their wikis or just their origin stories of like how the digital world went through different epochs or different, modes of time, which is also like in my theory supporting the digital world existing prior to humans, but having a very parasocial relationship with the human world, where a lot of our interactions in history recorded ended up being the response for data to evolve and adapt in the digital world. My main key for Gaiomon actually is from a few of its artworks, but more importantly, how I would view it in a world where it would be the original Greymon. One, it not possessing Greymon in name, but also representing something would be the way I would view it. Whereas Gaiomon would be a Digimon that would actually have existed during the time prior to what would be the Ice Age period of the digital world. I'm not sure exactly when that would have happened. However, I do have a reference point to where it may have happened. That we do know that in the recent, human society, we did have a time where we believe that there was actually a small minor ice age where the world cooled sometime in the last couple of hundreds of thousands of years. So after, obviously, the original ice age that we also know, but then also sometime prior to that, maybe just a small global cooling, obviously before rapid human industrialization, but that's not important. The key thing would be, I think Samudramon would come into existence sometime like that, after absorbing data from ancient Japan, or at least, medieval Japan, I guess would be the best way to put it, during the daimyo eras and all that stuff, where it's based off of samurais and adopted the data, basically being a dragon that powered up with samurai armor. Now, the key reason I think it may be the original Greymon, or at least the original design for Greymon, would be in the digital world. It is actually an organic holder of the X-Antibody, carrying it within its body. Now, there's a few Digimon that we know that were actually were the first Digimon, or first designed Digimon, being like Dorumon as an example. Now, if Samudramon's a natural carrier, and it's not really shown how it came to be in terms of the digital world, explaining it in the actual games or shows or whatever, this would actually be a good way to tie it in, is being one of the first designed Digimon with the X-Antibody. However, it eventually coming into the digital world through some type of accident, whether Yggdrasil accidentally released it, maybe it broke free, and it began to, terrorize the world, and its data would be lost for a long time during the Ice Age period. However, once that period ended, I could see it being reawakened in this new digital world, or at least more recent digital world, where it'd come into conflict. As we do know in the alternate art for one of the Gallant mods, it's actually facing off against Gaiomon, which is where I base most of this from. But as we're getting drawing to the end, I just wanted to say that's why I think Gaiomon may be the original Greymon. Has a lot going for it. And that's it, guys. It's a 5-minute theory, really quick. A lot of data to comprise there and a lot of stuff for you to look at, but also investigate. It's one of my theories I really enjoy. I could talk a lot about Gaiomon actually as just a Digimon because I actually really like it. As a quick backstory, because I don't want the video to drag out too long, I was introduced to Gaiomon in a different way than most because I didn't know it was actually a Digimon until I played against it in Digimon World Dusk, where it was one of the bosses. And it was really cool. It was a non-playable Digimon. So like you couldn't really get it through its DNA, but it was a really cool boss, and I've been in love with it ever since. So, that's all I've got today, guys. So, as always, this is Brad from the Ed Army signing off. And for all of you out there, to sign on.